Red button quick. Ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another round of Mine Your Fucking Business with your host, Jeffrey Princeman.
Thank you, Dougie Sticks, coming to you as always from the beautiful studios of Undefeated Media here in Bergen County, New Jersey, a snowy Bergen County, New Jersey, I should add.
Yes.
This is the Mind Your Fucking Business podcast brought to you by our good friends at the Bamboozle Project. We thank them for their sponsorship. You can go to thebamboozleproject.com, and I see we have some new color graphics on the screen up on there. So you can go to thebamboozleproject.com, check out all your winter gear if you're still in the belief that we're in winter. If you want to fast forward ahead and go to summer and spring, we have some summer and spring gear on there as well. But whenever you check out whatever season you're buying for, use that promo code magic 4 letters MYPB and save yourself a total of 20% off of your total order.
Wow.
We thank DraftKings as well for sponsoring the show, so we thank them. This is episode number 142, 142. So those joining on the Spanish dial, we thank you for tuning in. You can send us your questions at any time to mypbshow at gmail.com, which is also across your screen, or you can interact with us in probably what is the most popular way to do so, and that is via Instagram at mindyourfuckingbusiness.com.
And thank you for reminding me. We are now live on Instagram as well.
Are we up there live right now?
I just hit the button.
Okay.
There's a lot of other things going on. Almost forgot to hit the button.
There's a lot of things.
There's different software for different things. But now we are live on Instagram.
Well, when we start the show every week, it always there's a lot going on. So no need to have to explain yourself. So you can watch the show on Instagram live, you can watch the show on YouTube, and you can also stream the show, as we see from the stats that we looked at before the show today, that a lot of you are doing. And you can stream that on Spotify and iTunes at your pleasure.
Everywhere.
You can do that when you're food shopping, one of these people that walk through like ShopRite and Wegmans with those AirPods in, which I don't understand. Or you can, be in your car. Yes.
Time out.
Yes.
You can't understand those. You're going to be in a big trouble when people walk around with the Apple goggles soon.
You're going
to be, You don't even know about that yet?
I'm not. I am not the most tech savvy individual.
Yeah, if the AirPods are getting you, we'll just wait till the Air goggles come out.
Okay, well, wake me up when that's over. Okay, when that trend is gone. So, you can also, one last thing before we get into it, SeatGeek. If you go to any event around the country or around the world, whether it be a sport, concert, show, whatever it may be, use promo code MYPB and save $20 off of your total order, regardless of how much your order is. We just saved you $20. Buy yourself free popcorn and Coke and beer, whatever it may be, at the game or event that you're going to by using MYPB on SeatGeek. So last week when we were on Tuesday morning, the day after the Rangers came out of the All-Star break with a pretty good win versus the Avalanche. Jonathan Quick played well in the game. And at the time, there was not a goaltender announced, obviously, for the following night's game versus Tampa. They would never announce it a day early. And it ended up being Jonathan Quick again, which I think surprised a lot of people. The Rangers played Tampa at home, won a tight game 3-1, but one of the goals was an empty netter. Really a typical... It was reminiscent to me. So I'll tell you something. I got very lucky with this game. I was traveling for work. I wasn't even in this area of the country. And this happened to be the Wednesday night TNT game. The Marriott that I was in happened to have TNT.
Nice.
So I was able to load it up on the TV screen in the room and watch the game. It was reminiscent to me, and I was thinking this when I was watching it last Wednesday, that it was reminiscent to me of like Ranger Lightning games back in like 2015, the Eastern Conference Finals, like those years, just very low scoring, tight defensive. Like I think of Dan Girardi blocking shots, but a good win for the Rangers on Wednesday night. Now they went out to Chicago, and you had to assume here, and we put this poll up, I think, on Thursday on our Instagram story. You had to assume that yes, Jonathan Quick had played the last two games, but at some point they were going to play Igor again, and that seemed to be, before the game, the right opportunity to do so. Also because Chicago is not really having the best year, and their star player, Connor Bedard, who still remains injured from when he got injured in New Jersey. So you had that going on as well, and that was on Friday. The Rangers made what was the right call in starting Igor out there. What you didn't like, so again, sometimes I like to throw in my like personal life,
Yeah.
to give you like how I'm watching the game. I didn't watch a lot on Friday night. I had to pick my daughter up somewhere at 10. Game in Chicago is at 8:30, so I kind of saw the beginning. I had to leave for a little bit. I came back to the end. It was 3-1 Rangers with about 5 minutes left in the third. Now you assume,
Yeah.
what are you going to assume? You're up 3-1. There's
Yeah.
5 minutes left.
Uh-oh.
You're playing a bad team.
Uh-oh.
You assume that it worked out, but not
Okay.
pretty. They blew the 2-goal lead, and I was enraged on Friday night when Chicago tied it. Yes. I was like, I was half asleep thinking that I was just going to coast, watch the end of the game and pass out. And then next thing I knew, it was 3-3. And I was like legitimately mad.
Wow.
But
woke up everybody.
No.
Punching
Nobody
holes in the wall?
nobody was asleep yet. So,
Yeah, you're raging around like a bull in a china
exactly.
shop.
So the Rangers end up winning the game on a Mika Zibanejad goal in overtime, which is fine. Look, probably the amount of annoyance I felt was not really justified because they got 2 points anyway. You don't like blowing a 2-goal lead, but in the NHL, a win is a win. They got it on the road. Now let's go to Monday night Calgary. I went Monday night.
Okay.
I actually was at the game. Again, we talk about this a lot. I struggle to get there because my kids do 1,000 activities. Monday night, I went with my son to the game.
Yeah.
And Igor Shesterkin played. It was not arguably, because you can't argue this. It was his best game of the year. 2-0 shutout. Again, the score, we say it's 2-0. It really was 1-0 with an empty netter by Jimmy Vesey. And Igor Shesterkin was great. There were some saves. So my son and I were sitting behind the net where the Rangers shot first and third period. So we had him in front of us in the second period. And if you watch, the only power play that Calgary had that whole game actually was in that second period. Some of the saves and the way he was getting left to right was just great. You hope, right? And every Ranger fan is going to hope this, that whatever he did last week in that Monday, Wednesday game where he didn't play, and the team said, you know what, he was scheduled not to play, and he was scheduled to work with goaltending coach Benoit Allaire on certain things, that hopefully whatever it was he was working on were things that needed to be rectified, were things that needed to be corrected, and now are showing that, especially Monday night, because he was excellent. And I'm not just saying that because, well, of course he was excellent. Calgary didn't score at all. Thank you, genius. But he also faced a lot of grade A opportunities in front of the net. I was not impressed by the defense again. I felt like they let up a lot of grade A chances that they shouldn't have with guys in front of the net. A couple things on Monday night from being there. First off, my son, and I put this on my personal Instagram page. I didn't put it on the Mind Your Fucking Business one. My son got to do this program called Bench Buddies that the Rangers have now. Really cool. So he sat on the bench, was out there for warm up. And, it was really cool. He got fist pumps from Lafreniere. He got Kreider, I think, shot his Gatorade bottle on him. I hope Kreider's not sick because my son woke up with a cold today. So, I mean, I don't know if what was in that Gatorade bottle. If Kreider's got a sinus infection tomorrow night, we know where he got that from, or vice versa. But no, really cool experience. So thanks to the Rangers for doing that. That was really, really cool. All right. So being at the game allows you, when you go to a hockey game, look, hockey on TV is good, but hockey live is a completely different animal.
Totally different experience.
Right. Completely different to that. So a couple things that I will say about being there.
Okay.
I wanted to focus on Blake Wheeler. And what I wanted to watch, because we had good seats. So what I wanted to focus on during this game was I wanted to focus on
Does Blake Wheeler deserve a shot?
No. What I wanted to focus on was Blake Wheeler skating, because we see and other people say right all the time. I say it, everyone else says it. It's a common thing, but you can't really gauge it until you're there. And I wanted to thank you, Nikolai. I wanted to see how he skated. Right, This guy is so slow. There were so many instances on Monday night where either the puck went into the corner, and he actually, I'll give him credit where he made the effort to go get it, but at the end of the day, he never was even close to getting it. And then I'm thinking to myself, I remember thinking Monday night when I'm sitting there, this dude is on the top line and he can't get to the puck.
Jesus.
I mean, like there was a play, and I don't know if I want to blame Blake Wheeler or I want to talk about how good Markstrom, the Calgary goalie, was. He had an empty net to shoot at in the first period, right in the net we were in front of, right? And again, being the dad I am, I'm a fan, but I'm also a dad. My kids, I was with my son, love when the goal song goes off, right? And you're never guaranteed, your team can get shut out. I've been in games, right? And there's Blake Wheeler to tap in an empty netter in the first period and set off the goal song, and we got a 1-0 lead, and bam.
What happened?
The goalie just sticks his glove out and catches
goalie,
it.
Empty net. The goalie comes out of nowhere.
No. Empty net meaning like
he had, goalie,
he faked it. He had like a tap, and it was a pass from, I believe it was a Benajed. Someone fed it across the street, crease, street hockey, and went across the crease, and he had like a tap and goal, and it went right into the glove. I mean, I just like
we got some fun comments coming in.
Yeah.
Sam says Wheeler needs to get off the power play. Doesn't do much. And then Chris goes, Sam, you spelled team wrong because like power play.
Right. I got it. And then I see Chris, he needs to be off the team instead. Yeah. Yes. So, I don't know. Look, I can sit here and I've done this for a couple months and I don't like to get on players. Like it's just not really my MO, but I just can't understand the value that this guy is bringing to the team, or what it is, if it is anything, because whatever it is that I'm not seeing is certainly minimal. I mean, so that was one thing I wanted to watch. The other thing that I took away, especially the first period, we can all say, and I think for the most part, you'd be in agreement. I guess you could argue the other side of this if you wanted to, but I would say that here we stand on Valentine's Day, February 14th. By the way, happy Valentine's Day. Your flowers I saw from you were in the hallway. Thank you for that. You knew I like red roses, which I appreciate.
And the chocolates.
Chocolates, yes. So you could say that on February 14th, where we are, if you had to give Alexis Lafreniere a grade, okay, on the season, you'd probably give him an A or a B. Like he's had a really good season. Monday night, this guy missing a one-timers, firing him wide. There was a turnover in front of the net that went wide. He had a point blank shot and shot it wide. If Lafreniere could work on his ability, not necessarily be a sniper, because you can't just become a sniper, but work on like the ability to be a little more accurate with your shot, your wrist shot in particular. I mean, the guy would probably even have more goals. And then his grade certainly would be an A. I want to pull up Antoinette's comment. I got to meet Antoinette at the game, at the intermission. It was cool to meet her and her family. And her little man, her son, actually really cool. My kids could learn from this. A lot of kids could learn from this. We took a picture of all of us, and we put it up on the Instagram story, or we reposted it, right? And her son had said he was going to take the picture. And maybe, I'm going to guess, like her son is maybe 4 or 5. If you normally give a 4 or 5-year-old a picture to take with your iPhone, you're getting a picture of your shoes, you're getting a picture of your ceiling. So we did a backup picture where like we handed it to someone else. But I think the picture, but the picture that he took was amazing. Nice. He should be doing like, regular stuff.
Photography prodigy.
But I mean, he could work for Undefeated Media down the road. Yeah. By then, this place will be an empire.
Got stuff for him to do.
In this building with a parking situation outside, I'm sure we could find something for him to do. Absolutely. But yeah, so really cool to meet Antoinette at the game. That was really fun. So yeah, I mean, those are my observations from being there. Is that Wheeler just can't skate. I mean, like it's getting to a point here where what are we doing? I mean, how long are we gonna continue this experiment? Is it gonna go to the end of the year? And Lafreniere. So a couple other things. One other observation from the game before we move on to other things. Vincent Trocheck. Yeah. I noticed this guy skates, and this is one thing you don't see on TV. He skates so hard every shift in both ends. He'll go into the corner and dig a puck out in the defensive end. He'll go in the corner and drive you nuts in the offensive end. This guy is everywhere. And I was not, and Chris, who watches the show, knows this. And Chris was in agreement with me that the night before they signed Trocheck in the summer of 2022, we were really not fans of them going out and trying to do that. But it was not what we wanted, but he's been really good. Now, you may hate him and the back end of his contract. I'm warning you, in 4 or 5 years, you may not be a Trocheck fan when that's counting against the cap. But for the time being, and that's all we're going to go off of, yes, I think that he's just been great. So yesterday the Rangers announced in a surprise move, but I don't know that I don't know that I'm so surprised by it, but there were some people that were like, "Oh, I'm shocked at this. How could the Rangers do this?" That Tyler Pitlick was going to be waived. Okay, that Tyler Pitlick, Pitlick was gone. The Rangers were getting rid of him and waived. I don't know that I'm surprised at this. I don't know that this really matters. I mean, really, what they're telling you, if you look a little bit further, is that they have a lot of faith in Adam Enstrom, who actually looked good the other night. I will say. I mean, I don't think he looked any worse than Pitlick would. Is it's fine. Like I think if you're gonna sit here, and I saw some people on social media yesterday doing this, like, oh my goodness, why did they get rid of Tyler Pitlick? Tyler Pitlick is not in the equation for a June Stanley Cup run. Like, you having Tyler Pitlick on your, if the goal here is to get to June and be playing hockey games in June when it's 95 degrees outside, which it's clearly not today if you live in the Northeast, the Tyler Pitlick being on your team is replaceable. Okay. Now, one thing I will say that you don't, that I want, and I read this, so I'm not taking credit for knowing this, but if you look at something here, Chris Drury had a really bad offseason. He had one really good signing, and that is Jonathan Quick, right? Clearly, without saying. But the other signings he's had, Pitlick, Riley Nash, and Nick Bonino, which were all signed on July 1st and all signed within the first 3 hours, none of them are on the team anymore. So that is not really an indictment on Chris Drury, but it's not a good look that 3 of your 4 signings are gone. And in fairness, you signed Jonathan Quick, and he's been great, thankfully, but you didn't know you didn't sign him because you knew he was going to do that. I mean, you kind of looked into that. So I think when you look at it, you kind of think to yourself, you know what, I'm not sure that Chris Drury had the best off season. So as we move towards the trade deadline, which is now only 3 weeks away, here's what you know. The Rangers always do something, and they will. Okay, they will certainly do something at some point. If you look back last year, Chris Drury made the move for Vladimir Tarasenko. I believe it was on February 8th. I believe it was a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me if I'm for February 9th. It was made on February 9th. It was on a Thursday. Okay. So that move was already made, right? So you're at a point where if you're going to make a move, it can happen any minute, or you can be of the notion that I'm going to wait closer to the deadline, see maybe if there's a team that's not willing to move someone now, but then, kind of comes to the conclusion between now and then that I'm going to be a seller, and puts other people out there. Okay. And you can look at that. So what does Chris Drury do at the deadline? We posted this last week. This is probably going to be the sort of thing that we're going to have to talk about now ad nauseum here in the next couple weeks. But what I want to start with is this. What are the value of picks anymore? Okay. What do you think? Like, my thing is this. I understand picks are never guarantees. They're not. You never know if a pick is going to work out. You never know. Yeah. Look at the Rangers for actually terrible examples of picks that don't work out, right? Lias Anderson, Vitaly Kravtsov. I mean, the list goes on and on. We could go on. I mean, with Hugh Geisman, Dylan McElroy. I mean, I could just go on and on with this team. But at what point does Chris Drury have to sit there and say, I understand I have the opportunity to win right now, okay? But I also have a future down the road, and I don't want to mortgage it all away and give up picks to try and get something back right now. So the question to me is this, like, when Chris Drury makes a move, not if, because he's going to do something. Now you can sit here and say, well, maybe it's not major, maybe it's minor, whatever it is, he's going to do something. There is no chance that Chris Drury does nothing between now and the deadline. But at what point do you say to yourself, all right, I'm going to be a little bit leery to give up my picks because this franchise has a horrendous track record with draft picks. Horrendous. Again, Anderson, Kravtsov, McElrath, Geisman. I could go down the list. I mean, we could sit here and do an entire show on this, entire episode. So there's that side of the argument. But at what point do you say, you know what? I'm going to hold on to some of these picks.
Well, I think the problem is too, like, these are rentals. Like, it's not like you're trading away someone, you're keeping them. This is just you're getting them for the playoffs.
Well, that's a good point in the sense. Well, you can or you can't, but that's a good point. So you would have to get someone. Last year, the Rangers took on Tarasenko and Kane, and they knew they were not signed beyond that season, right? So you said you're coming here and you got to win now because you may not be here next year. I would like to think that Chris Drury is smart enough, and those players are known as rentals, right? You're renting someone for 4 months. That we're not doing that again. So if you're going to sit here and make a trade, and I'm not sure that I'm on the Vetrano train, but Vetrano would fit this mold where Vetrano has another year on his contract. Thank you, Pink Leonardo on Instagram for saying that. He has another year in his contract, so he wouldn't be a rental. But I just think, I'm tired of trading picks. I understand I want to win now, and I get it. You have to give to get.
Yeah.
And you're not going to really move people off the roster because you're trying to win now. So you're kind of restricted in a sense where you almost have to give up your picks. But can we please not try to give up first or second round picks anymore?
I agree. And what I'm going to before too is when you're trading for rentals, you're not keeping anything. So at the very least, I don't think you should do any more rentals for at least this time around. And we've seen it. Some of our top picks don't pan out. Tom Brady was a seventh round, Mr. Irrelevant, went to the Super Bowl.
So Henrik Lundqvist was a seventh round pick. Can you put up Samuel's last comment there? If trading, which is the whole point here, which I like, if trading the first round pick this year would guarantee you the cup, you trade that pick, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't have that guarantee. Yeah. If I knew, right, I'm 44. I've seen one cup. It was 30 years ago. I remember it well because I was into the Rangers then, and I remember I had Burger King that Tuesday night when they won the cup. I do have memories of it, but I would like to see another one in my lifetime. So if you told me that if I trade the first round pick, I'm guaranteed to get a cup, man, you could take the second and third round too. I don't care. But I've got to think that, again, aside from this week, and we're going to find out in the next couple weeks or two with Igor, I don't have a goalie playing that well. My starter, for the most part. I've got a lot of other issues. I don't know why B-Rock's looking at me over there in the corner. I've got these issues. I don't know. So I would not trade. There's an Instagram comment. I would trade a first for Tarasenko back. I would not do that. I would not trade a first round pick for Tarasenko.
Who would you trade anything for right now? Let alone not even a first. What is out there that you would trade what do you want?
Okay. Let me just say, I will answer that, but let me say one thing. And Chris, who's watching, is going to think that I'm targeting him on this comment, and I'm not, because this is on Instagram and Chris is on YouTube. But Think Laughter 138 just wrote, Gabe Perreault was gifted to the Rangers because they found a way to keep a pick. Worth it to hold on to those. I agree completely. Now, Chris will argue with me that Gabe Perreault, is maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. I agree completely. Gabe Perreault, I think, who is lighting it up in his freshman year at Boston College right now. Now, granted, he's played with the same people on the same line. I understand that. But I'm at a point now where let me make a move with what I have, but I know there's a future to this team also. Can we please hold on to some picks? Stop just giving away picks. Chris wants Trevor Zegras, and other than Chris wanting this, I have not seen or read much traction to that comment. That has been a Chris thing for a couple weeks now. Pink Leonardo says on Instagram, keep Othman, Perreault, and Adam Sikora. I'm fine with that as well. I'm actually fine with this. You know what I would do? What would you do? I would do this. And I know that this is not what people are going to want. I'm going to have people that disagree. Okay. If I'm Chris Drury, I'm finding a way to add people. So they're not going to be of a lot of value, right? I'm fine with him saying this. I'm not going to get a big name. I'm going to get you someone that I can trade a 5th or 7th round pick and retain salary and all this stuff that really doesn't matter to get a 3rd, 4th line, 6th defenseman type guy. And I'm going to go at it with what I have, because this team was 18-4. They did something right. I can hold on to my future, hope that Igor regains his form. And someone just wrote on Instagram, hot take, the Rangers need to get a right wing more than a center. I can agree with that. They need both. But if you want to, and so actually, wow, that's weird. Someone just wrote it on YouTube also. Someone just wrote, prioritize a top right wing instead of a 3rd line center. I'm fine with that. Now, the thing with a 3rd line center, you have to think, and it's the only position here you need to think is the only thing you need to think about with this is Filipino, right? If this is the one position, Chris Drury may know that Filipino's not coming back, right? They would never say it, right? But they may know that like Filipino's not playing next season, and even if they don't know, it's still a realistic possibility. So if you know that and you have an opportunity to get a third line center that fits more long term, because you're not going to have one, this is going to be a gap for a while possibly, then you have to go out and do that. So think laughter. I'm sorry, C-Row 314. Zegras would be an awful idea. He's a guy who did a Michigan and can't play D. We'll see. I don't understand. I don't get the math at how they get Zegras. I understand we can do these trade proposals and all these things, and they're fun to do, but I don't understand. Look, I wouldn't hate it if Trevor Zegras came to Broadway on not giving up a lot, but I don't think that there's an opportunity to get him back. Let's pull up some of the comments. Trade Wheeler away, and Drury has an A+ score. Yeah, I mean, so getting rid of Wheeler is just the perfect example of the saying addition by subtraction. But I believe, as Molly Walker said when she was on here a couple weeks ago, he has a no movement clause. He's not probably going to waive it right now in his career to go to a team that's not going to make the playoffs. He's going to stay and have a chance to win a cup, which is part of the reason why he came here. He's not going anywhere. It's just a matter of, I mean, I guess you could waive him. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But that would be addition of subtraction. Samuel brings up a great point, which is one of the things I was going to talk about in a couple minutes. I really like the third line, keep Cooley, Broads, and Kako together. Broads fits in nicely. I'll say this about Capo Kako, and it pains me to say this, but we all wanted Capo Kako, right? Again, we go back to like this whole moment when the Rangers drafted him second, and some people were like, oh, Kako would be better than Hughes anyway. How'd that work out? But we all go back to Kako landing in Newark Airport. I say this story all the time. Landing in Newark Airport, coming down a baggage claim, and there were all people there, waiting for him. And everyone thought he was the second coming of Jesus. But is Kako really this? Okay. Is Kako not an offensive star? Is he a really good third line player? Now, if he is, you're annoyed you spent the second overall pick on him, but maybe you can live with understanding who he is. Maybe that's his identity, right? Maybe it really is. So Chris's point is this line, Cooley, Braz, and Kako, going to play as good as the kid line 1372 and 24 to 2 years ago? I think it's a different type of line. I think if you put those two lines side by side, I think you had a much better chance to get offense from that third line 2 years ago. That kid line, as they were called, I always go back to one shift that they had. I go back to when they played Tampa in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2022. I believe it was either game 1 or 2 at the Garden. In the second period, there was a shift where the kid line cycled the puck over and over. Tampa couldn't get the puck out of the end, and then Hedl scored like on that shift. So, if it's me, I'm trying, I think right now, to hold on to picks and not do a ton of things. Now, if a deal comes up where you can get someone that you can plug in, maybe in the top 2 lines, which would be unlikely, and not give up a lot, which Chris Drury sometimes can find these diamonds in a rough, like Frank Vetrano 2 years ago from Florida. He didn't give up a lot at all. I believe it was a 4th round pick. That would be fine to bring someone back like Vetrano. Maybe he's working on finding that. But you don't want a rental, and you don't really want to give up a lot of picks. And I understand that picks are not guaranteed to work. I get it. But it's not what I want to do.
I agree.
So
agreed.
And the other thing is, as Chris is kind of alluding to in the last comment, here's the thing: if they don't produce like that line, you're not going far. If the top line, which again right now has Blake Wheeler on it, if Blake Wheeler, Mika Zibanejad, and Chris Kreider do not start producing 5-on-5, you're not going far anyway. So that's one thing that has to get fixed. You need Igor to be back to who he is. I mean, granted Monday night he was excellent, but that's one game. We're not going to sit here and declare that that's over and he's back off one game. And the other thing is you need defensively to not stop letting up grade A chances. They were on the, what was amazing the other night in the Calgary game? They were up 1-0 in the third period. You're up 1-0. You have a power play with about 6 minutes left, which, by the way, Blake Wheeler drew the penalty. So if I'm going to get on, the guy, let's be fair. I mean, he drew the penalty by falling down, but still, he drew the
Some
penalty.
people are good at
Hey,
that.
it's good. So, if all these things don't come into play, I don't know how far you're going. You've got a lot of things you got to rectify. Oh, but anyway, I'm saying, so they're on the power play, right? And you're on a power play up 1-1, and the amount of shorthanded chances that Calgary had was amazing. Defensively, they just still seem lost. So I don't know.
So who do we want?
Let me.
Who's our dream?
I'm gonna pull in some comments, and then I don't really want a lot. Is my answer. I'm not giving you a name because I don't want to give up a lot, but I want to give up. Pull in some of these Instagram comments. Brent Marner becomes available after the season with Nylander getting the Leafs favoritism. Those are guys that look, any team would love to sign people like that. I would worry though with the Rangers, and I'm not a salary cap expert, but I would worry about how they'd be able to fit them under the cap. Pink Leonardo declares that Igor is back. Okay, I hope you're right on that. Ciro, I'd agree with not trading picks if we were a wild card team, but we are in first with only Boston ahead of us in the East. The chance to win is wide open. You got to grab the brass ring while it's hanging there. It's a fair argument. I can see both sides of it. But I just look at it where my counter argument to that is, Ciro, is that yes, you are there, but you're there for the most part because of what you did in the beginning of the season. And the things that you did in the beginning of the season are not there right now. Igor has not been good. The top line has not been good. There's a lot of other issues that need to get fixed to go try and get that brass ring that's hanging there. I don't know.
Sounds good.
I don't know. So the Rangers, so this weekend, really cool. This will be something for you to do, the hockey fan.
Oh, yeah?
The Rangers will play tomorrow night at home versus Montreal in original 6 matchup. And whenever you have, like, Montreal's not having the best year, but, I mean, Canadian Ranger games, I don't care if and that's not why I'm wearing the USA jersey today. Thank you for that comment, but that's not why I'm wearing it. Someone just wrote that in. Whatever the Canadians are in town is a good game. And then on Sunday, you have the outdoor winter classic versus the Islanders. So the Stadium series, they will do Saturday night is the Flyers and the Devils. It would be really fitting for you to go because Jonas Brothers are performing. I thought of you.
You thought of me.
I thought of you.
You thought of the Jonas Brothers.
I'm joking.
Where's the connection?
I'm joking.
Just because we're from Jersey?
No, I just, and thank you. Samuel's writing in. A lot of you guys will be there. I see writing in on YouTube. So Sunday is the outdoor game, and I believe the weather is like 35 or 40. I'm not trying to deter people. And Rangers Ed, if you want to pull up his comment, that they'll miss me at the put the other one up. Well, they're doing a tailgate. So if anyone's going to the game and you want me to hook you up with Rangers Ed and their tailgate, I believe Big Apple Hockey is with them as well. Will be good. I actually have a hockey game myself on Sunday afternoon towards the end, but that's not why I'm not going. I'm just going to put I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. It's not what I do, but I've been to outdoor games. I'm going to give you a couple of pieces of advice.
Okay.
The weather
time out.
Yes.
These are Jeff's pieces of advice.
No. So a couple things. The weather I believe I saw was like 35. 35 in MetLife Stadium with the winds going is going to feel like 10.
Okay.
So you're going to go into the seats. It'll be a 3:00 game. They're not dropping the puck. They're probably like 3:18, something like that. So dress warm. The other thing is, and you're going to think that I'm going to sound stupid, but I fell to this.
Yeah.
I was wrong when I went to a game at Fenway Park. Bring your binoculars because the way that the sight levels are, remember, you're looking down at a football field, but when you're looking down at it, you have glass surrounding what you're trying to look at.
Yeah.
So when I went to BU versus BC back in 2010 at Fenway Park, we were in the bleachers, right, which were high up. We couldn't see a thing. So we all turned around the entire game and watched it on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's the one thing. That's the one thing I like. They got to figure out because there's 100 feet between the stands and then the glass in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
It's not like the ice is right. Like first row, you're right on the glass. No, first row, it's like 100 feet, and then there's glass.
My son asked me the other day if we were going to go, and I said, well, if you really want to go, we'll go, because I actually still have tickets that I have. I got to find someone to use them, and then I said, just beware, we're going to be out in the cold for 5 hours and can't really see. He's like, nah, Dad, I'm okay. Yeah. So a couple things on Instagram coming on. If we can get Henrique and Vetrano for a second-round pick and Kako, would you do it? Yeah, off the top of my head, I would do that trade. Adam Henrique and Frank Vetrano for a second-round pick and Kako, yes, I would do that trade. I would. Actually, now that I think about it, yes, of course I would do that trade. The Yankee Stadium was cold, no matter how many layers. That Stadium series in 2014, where the Rangers played 2 games. They played the Devils on a Sunday, and then they played the Islanders on a Wednesday, was like legit polar vortex. Terrible. And, well, Chris doesn't like that trade. So the Yankee Stadium was cold no matter what. Brent, that's a no-brainer trade. So there's a good one. You know what we're going to do? Yeah. We're going to post today, sitting in the blue, your thing. We're going to post in the story later. If you could get Henrique and Vetrano for a second-round pick and Kako, would you do it? Not that I think that it's really they're going to do it.
Well, looks like we got mixed reviews here.
Yeah. Well, Nikolai's now going at Chris saying that because he doesn't get Zegras. He knows Chris wants Zegras, so that's what it is. Don't you dare trade our golden fin Capo Kako. Met Stadium was awful. The beers were freezing. I have never been, and we're not going down this road. I'm going to open talking about baseball because we know we have people here that do not like when we do that, and we've never spoken about baseball in 142 episodes. I've never yet been to Citi Field in my whole life, and I know the Rangers were there. They played Buffalo, which was shady. I don't know. Do you know this story? What happened? So it was designated a home game for Buffalo. This was 2018. Okay. Now you sit there and you say, well, what do I care? Right? Like, why would you care? No, when you have season ticket, it's like I do, you do care. Yeah. Because instead of using that game as one of your 41 home games, that was designated a road game. Now we all had like pre-sale access to tickets and we could get them if we wanted them. I didn't go, but I don't even remember if I got tickets. But it was dubbed a Ranger away game.
That's weird.
Yes, but
Buffalo's 8 hours from here.
Yes. So apparently, Citi Field I could see was cold from what everyone is writing in. So
I just think they need to restructure the arena. Like pick a side, press the glass up to that side, and then maybe fill up the seats. Only maybe it's half the stadium.
So another comment, I just want to keep on the Zegras theme. Zegras would love, this is on Instagram, sitting in the blue. Zegras would love Broadway, but believe me, Broadway would not love his defense. Wow. That's the second person that has commented on his lack of defense. So that would be a concern to me. So Rangers are always an away team on an outdoor game because of the taxes. Yeah, and the Rangers are it's an outdoor game again today in the Island. Because the Rangers actually, you want a hot ticket? They play the Islanders on St. Patrick's Day in the afternoon at the Garden. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't want to be in March, a security guard working that game. There is no chance. Now, Chris is writing in that Zegras is better than Hedl, of course, but you've got to get Zegras. You own Hedl. You don't own Zegras right now. So anyway, so the Rangers tomorrow night, home versus Montreal, Sunday in the Stadium Series. For those of you who are going, tag us in your pictures. We will repost them in your MYPB hats, but I will be not there. And then Tuesday night, home against a very good Dallas team. And if you remember from, was it last year? Yes, it was last year when they played Dallas, was the game where Keandre Miller scored with 0.9 seconds left to tie it at 1. And then they ended up winning the game in overtime. Dallas is on a Fox goal. Dallas is a very good team. So you know what? The Islanders are playing energetic hockey. I actually watched last night. I watched their shootout loss to the Kraken. But under Patrick Waugh, they're playing a little bit more like fire. They forecheck a little bit harder. All that stuff doesn't surprise me. So we should see what happens with that. Nice. All right. I promise, before I say what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I promise this is the last time we're going to talk football for the season. We're going to just the season's over.
We're going to do some big trades.
We're going to do 5 minutes of football and everyone's going to go ballistic. But then they can celebrate that this is the end, because next week, unless there's some massive development like, Tom Brady
gets traded for Tom Brady.
Tom Brady comes out of retirement and signs with the Jets. I don't know. So
everyone loves when we talk football. They say it in the
before we do it. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, no. Before we do it, I don't want to go back, but can we put Nikolai's last comment up, because it's a great way to wrap up with Zegras. Getting Zegras reminds me of the Edmonton reporter who said to McDavid, "Would you guys rather win 7-6 or 3-1?" The importance being defense, and he is right. And right now, the Rangers. So love listening to football takes. All right, Samuel, you might be in the minority. I like talking about it, but we get people that say all the time that they want nothing. They just want hockey, and nothing, and nothing else. So
cake. Always the cake, none of the hors d'oeuvres.
Right. You know what? They just want all of this, all of that, which is fine. Look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. We can do that. So we know hockey games move fast, but with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can score faster than anything happening on the ice. This week, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Do you believe in the Rangers' recent 5-game winning streak good play? If so, you can find them at plus 1,000 to hoist Lord Stanley's Cup in June. Download the DraftKings Sports app with code THPN. New customers bet just $5 on the NHL and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problems gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. All right. Super Bowl recap. I'm not going to ask you if you watched because, of course, you asked. What did you do for Super Bowl? That I don't know.
Absolutely nothing.
Stayed
home with the baby.
Did you make like good food?
Nothing worth talking about. We went to the store and got some stuff, but nothing
Wild and crazy.
Wild and crazy.
You do live near one of my
guacamole dip.
Well, I'm a little disappointed in you in the sense that you live near one of my pizza places I like. I'm surprised you didn't.
Yeah? What's your favorite pizza place?
Pizza Night.
Oh, yes.
Or you even have Lido's over there.
Oh, yeah, we got Lido's, Pizza Night.
Temporarily.
There's Presto's or something. Yes, temporarily. Moving to Oakland. So if anyone has any Oakland suggestions, let me know.
I don't want to get... So it's funny you say that.
Yes.
I'm not going to get into Oakland suggestions. It's nothing against that town at all.
Wow.
I'm just going to
leave already hating on my town?
No.
Move in yet?
I'll tell you off the air about my Oakland story.
Okay.
It involves hockey, too.
All right.
So...
well, you guys don't get to hear about it.
No. I'm not saying it here. And it's also not that exciting. So, all right. So you watched, what did you think of the game? Did you I mean, obviously the ending was good, but what did you think of the game overall?
The game was kind of a little slow, but it wasn't bad. And like, not that the ending was disappointing, but like, you want both teams to win when they're going at 100%. I felt like San Francisco dropped off big time toward the end.
Okay.
Like they've really slowed down and like they weren't playing like they were at the beginning of the game.
Okay. Well, as long as you liked it.
Yeah,
Do you know who I got to see at Super Bowl?
You were at the Super Bowl?
No.
Oh,
I was not. I was not in Vegas, but do you know who I got to see where I was for the Super Bowl?
I do not.
An MYPB legend.
An MYPB legend?
We can figure it out.
The names that I want to say are
I'll give you a hint. On bamboozleproject.com, we sell his shirt.
Late Night Louie?
Late Night Louie, baby.
Oh, hey.
Got to see Late Night Louie for Super Bowl. Yes.
Nice.
So good times. But yeah, so for the game itself, I thought, look, I'm not going to lie. I was just, the first half I just thought was like dreadful. It was 3-and-outs, punt after punt. If you like defense, which I understand people like, then that's a game that to that point in the game was tailor-made for you. That was not
for you.
That was not intentional. Stop. Because people wrote in to not talk about Taylor Swift. I didn't even say it. I didn't mean to. I meant the game was like made if you like defense. It was
tailor-made to you.
No, we're supposed to not talk about Taylor Swift. That's the instructions today we were told.
Yeah, well, you swiftly just broke that rule.
Okay. All right. That's enough of that. Anyway, the game itself I thought was boring, but then really picked up at it. So congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't say it's funny. You and I, like anyone, right? Even if you don't do podcast, if you're just a sports fan of any sport, right? Like you always sit there in the beginning of your sport season, right? And you try to think who's going to win it. You try to predict, right? And you sit there like with hockey and you say, okay, well, maybe it'll be the Rangers, but maybe it's not going to be the Rangers. Maybe it'll be, the Bruins or something. Like you have a list of people that you can sit there and think to yourself, maybe it'll be one of them, right? Okay. How we sat here and I even said like a month and a half ago, you know what? The Buffalo Bills, that plus 650, they got ripped off. Forget it. They didn't get ripped off. They missed a kick. They didn't get screwed. They did to themselves.
Yeah.
But now, like when I sit here and hindsight is 2020, right? I'm sitting here and I'm like, we didn't see this coming. Like the Chiefs won it
think we
last year, the whole storybook with the thing
They
we're
didn't
not
play
supposed to
that
talk
good.
about. But like, we should have saw this possibly coming.
I don't know.
Anyone who sits here, like someone
I don't
said the
know.
other day, it was someone on ESPN or one of the, I don't know, Fox Sports the other night when I was watching on Monday, was like, like it really is. It's just such a surprise after the season that the Chiefs won. How is it a surprise?
The Chiefs didn't play that good. It easily could have been Lions Bills. Easily.
Okay, well, maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
But
I don't think the Chiefs played that well all season, and they just they clawed their way there.
But if you're going to pull that, not pull that, but if you're going to say that, the Chiefs had to go into Buffalo and win there.
Yeah.
They had to go into Baltimore and beat the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
And then they had to beat San Francisco, who clearly was this season the best team in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I know you like Detroit, and I get it, and Detroit was a good story, but let's be real, they finished with the 1 seed. So they had to beat 3 opponents as an underdog in all of them. They were underdogs in Buffalo by 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
They were underdogs in Baltimore by 3.5,
Mm-hmm.
and they were underdogs in the Super Bowl by 2. So they had technically they were underdogs for 3 straight games, none of which were at home in Arrowhead Stadium, and had to win. So you know what? They deserve it.
So I mean, they will. Like, I'm gonna make my bets probably in a week or two of like next year's Super Bowl, and I'm gonna do the Giants, the Jets, and
why do you do that? You throw money away.
Because the little tiny bit of money, if it happens, I hit major money. It pays for itself for like 30 years.
I don't
done it like the last 2 years.
Here's my fear with you.
What?
If you hit on one of your bets that you
My big
spend,
bets,
you spend $1 and you hope for the Giants Jets to play in the Super
And
Bowl.
I get like 30K.
Meanwhile, both their seasons ended in October for pretty much. But you wish that. I don't know who would like be the co-host here.
I would be. What are you talking about? I wouldn't change anything.
You would still show up here?
Go straight to Samantha's college fund. Don't forget, we got Aaron Rodgers this year.
Oh, we do. So, all right. So that is it for today. We thank you guys for all the comments and questions. As again, you guys are starting to really take over this show, and we kind of run with it. We try to get as many of your comments and stuff going on. We appreciate those who watched on Instagram, those who watched on YouTube as well. Keep your comments coming. You can. We'll be back on next week. I do think there is a chance next week. We're trying to get Dan Rosen back on the show, senior reporter, NHL.com. I saw him at the game the other day and we were talking, so we're going to try and set something up. But if it's not next week, it'll be soon for sure. He's coming back on. But it'll be a good time of year for them to be on. Check out the bamboozleproject.com. Go on the website. Get yourself your MYPB gear. Save yourself 20% with promo code MYPB. Any other closing thoughts from you before we leave, sir?
Great job. Great episode.
I tell you, with the Rangers, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do as we get closer to the deadline. Someone just wrote on an Instagram, Mark, that they met Mark Messier today. Nice. If you meet Mark Messier, right,
you got to give him our number so you can get him on the show.
No, well, yeah, but if you meet Mark Messier, you are go play a lotto, go do something. It is a very good day. Go have a favorite meal. Go to your favorite place. TS Ma, whatever it may be, go get yourself some solid food. And you had a really good day. So Molly Walker, Hudson's asking about Molly Walker coming back on the show. We'll get Molly back on soon. The problem we have with Molly Walker getting her on the show a lot is the schedule. The Rangers skate in the morning. Obviously, that's a priority, not to be with us. So we have to try and find a day where the Rangers are off, and they usually don't know that stuff in advance. But we'll have Molly Walker back on sometime soon. There may be actually a Molly Walker clip going up this week, I believe, from the show she was on. I do believe that's going on. So thank you guys for listening. Enjoy the outdoor game if you're going. Wear your MYPB hats, dress warmly, and we will see you all next week.